from Kazakis.
Now 10 weeks out from the new expansion, Kabal Courier has solidified a spot in the meta. The card frequency radars for Mage, Priest, and Warlock, our Kabal classes, are all showing decent and increasing frequency of the Courier. As a 2/2 for 3 mana that simply adds a class card to your hand, Courier is a slow card. Relative to the pace of our current meta, she is extremely slow. So let's break down some of the statistics at work in her Discover mechanic, and we'll hopefully find reason to justify her play frequency despite being so slow. And in doing so, we may understand more about how useful of a card she is for future theory crafting possibilities. Let's take the 3 Kabal classes, lay out every single class card on the table, and try to refine them into categories that might be useful. Because the Courier is slow, it seems reasonable to limit the field of cards to those that are best at being reactive. We've looked at the frequency of weak single target removal, strong single target removal, weak AoE removal, and strong AoE removal. The Courier can also offer more burst damage, sustain with effects that add cards, and even card draw, all of which are very resourceful in one of Reno decks. Lastly, we'll look at what percentage of cards might be considered relatively unpickable, which we'll deem as whiffs, and how many cards, like Antonidas or Raza, which would be absolutely game-changing if offered as an option. With Mage, a few categories stand out. 20% of the Mage class cards involve strong removal, and altogether, over 40% of the cards involve removal in some way. Also interesting is that about 25% of Mage cards offer more sustain. These are cards like Kabbalist's Tome, Babbling Book, Ethereal Conjurer, and others. Lastly, we have at least 3 cards that can offer game-changing value from the Mage class in the longer matchups: Archmage Antonidas, Ronin, and Ink Master Solia. With Warlock, what stands out is how AoE heavy the class is, with 15% of cards, minions, and spells that offer some form of AoE. Over 30% of the cards overall offer removal from the Warlock class. And in Warlock, there are at least 2 cards that offer game-changing value: Jaraxxus and Twisting Nether. Finally, in Priest, the amount of removal and AoE is smaller, but still high at an overall 25% of cards. The Priest cards offer more sustain than the other classes, with a quarter of all Priest cards, things like Museum Curator, Onyx Bishop, Shifting Shade, Thoughtsteal, offering additional value. Priest also has at least 3 game-changing value cards: Entomb, Raza, and Confessor Paeltress. Now for the all-important summary. As we bring these numbers together, we start to see why Kabal Courier is such a strong card. We have to also factor in the Kabal class cards themselves: Kazakis, the Chemist, and the Courier herself. At 1 Discover option per class, we can narrow our stats into these probabilities. What stands out here is that 75% of the time, you are going to be offered a card that helps with the reactive component of your deck. Since Courier is being played almost exclusively in Reno decks right now, this makes a lot of sense why she's seeing so much frequency. Additionally, if you're looking for cheat mechanics that might steal a game away, about 5% of the time, it's likely you'll see a card that offers game-changing value. If you offer the Courier up with Brand's Bronzebeard, obviously you have 2 chances at these value cards. Aside from justifying why Courier is finding more frequency with each subsequent week of the meta, we have practical numbers here for why she should be considered in future theory crafting considerations, especially in those denser control-style decks. And unlike Solia, Raza, Reno, and even Kazakis himself, Courier is not a Highlander contingent effect, so future iterations of control can sustain without the one-of card effects being a part of the deck. Courier is sure to bring her crystals to the party.